Choip, choip, choip. Choip, choip, choip.
Say what you want about them, but at the very least they use indoor plumbing. They may have even tried to flush, but it just wouldn't go down. Welcome to Mars, Doom Guy. It seems as though you've been out of the game for a while. And yes, we're in the grips of yet another crisis brought about by demons. I know it must be jarring, a lot has changed. But hey, at the very least you still have to collect colored key cards at times to move on, in spite of the technological advances. So it's the future and humanity had an energy crisis. And fortunately, they thought, they discovered a connection to hell, one that emanated an energy that was renewable, infinite and clean, but had the tiny drawback of opening up the possibility, if they weren't careful, for demons to gain a foothold again, after all the trouble it took you to beat them back the last time. Zzz. I think this entry in this series connects to the others that way, if I understand correctly. Otherwise you're an epic doom guy that seeks revenge for a completely different species altogether that happens to help humanity in the process. And in grand and inevitable sci-fi tradition, things go wrong. And you've got work to do. A job that has similarities to that of the chiropractor, and optometrist, and sometimes dentist. Story-wise, the doom guy still doesn't speak, but others relay story mostly through holograms and radio. Humans dug too deep, they messed with things they shouldn't have for power, etc. Familiar territory. A common story presentation for an FPS, but it has at least a minor presentational flourish in the form of the non-speaking gruff doom guy displaying his anger at the folly of humanity and how they deal with his arch enemies. In those rare moments you feel a seething anger, as though he would have called them idiots if he could.
We're only temporarily disabling the tower. You need to remove each lens individually. Carefully release the hinges.
Warning. Energy contamination detected.
Destroying the production of Argent energy isn't necessary.
But ultimately not much story, and there's some strange levity thrown in now and then. Strange because the game actually is quite dark in tone, or at least serious. And finally we have the Codex, which fills in extra information and maybe at times is even interesting, or throws in a gag maybe. But a great deal of it is made up of sci-fi word salad. A machine that runs hotter than the sun. So hell energy is so strong that it can power the entire future mega planet that is the Earth. That's what I'm guessing it is. As well as the mega AI that is Vega. As well as the cooling methods to cool something that hot. Alright, I know it's Doom, I shouldn't really think about this that much, but in all fairness, you gave us a codex to read. So the story isn't groundbreaking or substantial, but it actually has quite a cool feel, mostly due to Dr. Samuel Hayden's massive robot form, that makes his whole I'm doing this for the greater good deal a bit more palatable. And perhaps this is the perfect amount of story for this game. How many people have ever claimed that the most memorable part of a Doom game was the story? Visually, the game looks very nice somehow, in spite of it showing off a textbook planetary colony facility. Location's kind of known for generic design, situated on a brownish-orange planet, kind of known for dust, with functional industrial equipment, space age, maybe modular architecture, where a green light is a splash of color. But it has a lot of accentuating darkness and high-end graphics, and somehow they pull it off. Perhaps because usually you focus on the enemies and the violence. The brutality of performing glory kills on unliving meat. The VICERA is a major draw. And unsurprisingly, the game has metal music. Electro and bass, but the more ominous type to instill a feeling of the sinister. With scratchy shrieks, ominous noises, that sometimes can get you amped up while you shoot things. But honestly, in this game, usually the music for me faded into the background. Didn't necessarily accompany the action that well. I suppose it did deliver atmosphere, and ultimately came to the conclusion that the music was nothing really to write home about. If maybe that is a bit harsh. Gameplay-wise, you're in for some fast-paced first-person shooter action. You're almost always moving, swapping weapons, keeping track of ammo, staggering enemies, then brutally murdering them when they start flashing. rewarding you with bonus health, as well as a massive amount of ammo if you expend some gasoline, to eviscerate them without staggering them first. The bigger the enemy, the more gas you need, and the transition into these glory kills is seamless. Quite the opposite of what they're about to become. Free-flowing death. You can even use them to bridge an aerial gap, allowing you to play around with different elevations in the many arenas where enemies congregate. Really, these animations are so seamless they remind me of the Arkham games, if Batman were a bit more Punisher. Most of the time, I believe I just softened up enemies, so I can go for those glory kills. The weapons are fun to shoot, but sometimes can't play second fiddle to those glory kills. Except for the BFG, which they somehow found a way to make even stronger. Which is awesome. It sort of melts through all enemies in a straight line. But in all fairness, they kind of treat it like a glory kill as well. And like the chainsaw, it has a very limited ammo capacity, designed to be even more of a special occasion thing. And thus you might not use it as much. Really want the bang for your buck? But the right occasion never presented itself, and that superb meat has a lovely spice on top. Secrets. And unlike those in early id Software games, they don't just offer ammo, armor, etc. You can also find small collectibles. Plus, the secrets have a functional purpose, as they go towards filling up the bar that rewards you with weapon upgrade points. Or sometimes you will find Praetor upgrade points to upgrade your suit, or Argent accumulators to upgrade your ammo, health, or armor capacity. Weapon mods are findable too, so exploration is thrown in and gets rewarded and ties into some light action RPGing. Killing enemies goes towards weapon upgrade points, as do completing challenges which give additional objectives. And you can complete combat challenges to unlock runes that can be upgraded by fulfilling certain criteria, and all of this are nice additions, because, as we know from early id Software games, killing things can only get you so far. A lot of gamers like me need distractions to stay invested, something else to focus on. The secrets aren't actually that hard to find. There's even a late game upgrade that shows the location of most secrets. But nevertheless, they're fun to find, they give you a jolt. But there are levels wherein if you progress too far, you can't backtrack, and have to restart if you want to find that secret you missed. Which is a faff. Plus, one of the types of secrets you can find are classic level zones. And once you're inside of them, you unlock a classic Doom level for play. If you'd like to go back in time and kill some more things again for some of us. It's a pleasant, if strange, diversion, because the environmental textures are the same, but they use the new 3D models and weaponry, combined with the old sound and music. So arguably, it makes for a bit better nostalgia, because the gameplay is much smoother, in a way giving you new levels to play. A fair warning, it's not completely time capsule, and it's surprisingly taxing on the hardware. Those do not get marked, and are hard to find. Proper secrets, but arguably not worth redoing an entire level. As for content, the game has the campaign, those classic levels I mentioned, and the arcade mode, that offer the same levels as in the campaign, but with a score chasing focus and speed. Perform headshots, glory kills, multi-kills, etc. to increase the multiplier and get medals. Try to keep the combo going with items and killing things. Glory kills can really come in handy here. The need for gladiatorial spectacle is more important than physics. Also collect the extra life bonuses and relics and try and get the high score. Although why the relics look like Dungeons and Dragons dice, I do not know. I don't get the connection to Doom, if any. Sure, I can see them sharing some enemies. Those who haven't fused with technology, at least. The higher the difficulty you pick, the more points you get, and these difficulties are available for the main campaign as well. The game wasn't that difficult on Hurt Me Plenty, especially the bosses, but the harder difficulties really ramped up the challenge during arcade mode. Completing 2 arcade levels as well as the campaign mode, and I collected like 139 out of 151 of the marked secrets. That's 92% of those secrets, and that took me 17 hours to do. And on Steam, I suppose it's kind of cheap. 299 Rand full price, 74 Rand 75 on sale. That's 4 Rand 40 per hour of gameplay, which is okay. Not great, but doable, especially for something this cool. Unfortunately, it does have a massive download, as it takes up 68.69 gigabytes on the hard drive. That is quite the ask. And of course, I didn't even try it on the Warhorse. It would get sawed in half. And stereotypically, it's not kid-friendly either. So much VICERA. The game is graphically advanced and has brilliant glory kill animations. You get to see some lovely gore, plus those animations are seamless, and all in all the game looks nice, even though what it's depicting is quite a tough sell in all of its brown, dusty metallicness. It is brilliant, very fast-paced, tight first-person shooter action, you're constantly moving, plus once again those glory kills are great and satisfying, and allow for some free-flowing combat. Seeing that bonus health and ammo. Real endorphins. Maybe the guns play second fiddle to the glory kills, but technically there's nothing stopping you from shooting everything and ripping them apart. The game has a lot of lovely secrets and collectibles to find that add an exploration and RPGing element. They have functional purposes, and they let you work towards weapon upgrade points, as well as the other beneficial things you will find. Quite a few secrets to find too. As mentioned, 151 marked ones. Most secrets are easy to find or nice jolts, others are trickier, and sometimes backtracking is prevented. I doubt that many of you will restart levels for that reason. Maybe once or twice at the start, especially for the more important stuff you can find like Argent accumulators. But later on, after all that shooting through a level, it gets to be a drain. But they do add much needed distraction. I liked the original Doom, but it felt like a bit of a slogfest at almost half the length. There are also challenges and runes to reward combat, as well as that arcade mode to encourage a bit more mastery. But fair warning though, I felt the runes were rewarding, but a friend of mine who also played this game didn't like that those abilities were behind that wall, enough so that he called it bad game design. So consider his statement, maybe you'll agree more with him. Also nice that arcade mode gives a more drop-in, drop-out way of playing this game, in case you just need a quick dose of violence. Plus there are 5 different difficulty levels to suit your taste, or ramp up the challenge as needed. On the maybe side, not much of a story really. Well-trod territory. Greed leads to disaster. The science fiction facility is filled with critters. The FPS protagonist doesn't speak. But here it's cool if for no other reason than the gruff Doom guy getting really mad at the people responsible for this situation. And there's just something about Samuel Hayden's robot body. The game does have some sci-fi word salad though, at the very least in the Codex. And it has at the very least a decent soundtrack. It's more ominous and sinister, but some elements of it can pump you up. It really seemed more like an atmospheric thing, and for me at least it faded more into the background. On the con side, the game has some unrefinements. Minor ones though, a weird thing will happen now and then maybe. Really nothing major. It just stands out more because this is such a AAA title. Come on, play it. And see how a chainsaw turns a demon into a piñata.
Choip, choip, choip. Choip, choip, choip.